Hey Sunflowers, today I'm going to do a very chirpy, upbeat, positive video talking about some of the decks that I've just been loving recently. Basically, I just want to do something sweet and simple, get back in touch with my tarot and oracle loving self, which I know I rarely exhibit on the channel, even though I am indeed a pro tarot reader. I'm a pro card slinger, I have been for many years now, and that's how I make the majority of my money. And yet I don't really talk about it that much on the channel. I used to make quite a bit of card slinger content, and I used to show a lot of spreads and talk about techniques and stuff. I really felt like I just did everything that I came to do in terms of that. I don't really think up much stuff these days that is tarot or card slinger related that I really want to share. But every so often I just want to rave about things that I enjoy. So there is a playlist about all my card slinger stuff if you want to see more. There are lots of unboxings on the channel, lots of discussion about technique, and some of my more, spicy, racy, unpopular opinions maybe are on the channel as well. They can all be found in that playlist. But for this video, I'm just gonna be super positive and high vibe and let you know what I have been loving. These decks are mostly tarot, but there are a few oracle deck treats thrown in there as well, because I do love to read with oracle also. So let's begin with the first deck that I want to showcase today and talk about. This deck that I absolutely love. I bought it a few months ago. It's from Lawrence King Publishing, and it is the Erotic Tarot. I'm completely obsessed with the Erotic Tarot. I have not used Erotic Tarot for my clients. I have never done a client reading with Erotic Tarot. Strangely enough, it doesn't really come up as a relevant need in terms of my professional life, but for my personal readings and for fun and for playing with and looking at and kind of like thinking about the meanings in relation to the imagery from Erotic Tarot, it has been a really interesting journey. So it comes with this really beautiful little white book. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? With all these red pages inside, red and black pages. So you really can't complain about that little white book, darlings. And now let me show you some of the cutaways of these cards, because they are utterly divine. I think really with Erotic Tarot, the thing that I enjoy so much is its beautiful illustration work in a really specific style, very eye-catching, really playful, really enjoyable to look at. And to explore the meanings of the cards in this very different way, I think is, super exciting for me. It's different to the usual stuff that I have in my collection. So that's one thing I love about it. The 4 suits have been renamed. So you've got candles instead of wands, you've got roses instead of coins, feathers replace the swords, and shells replace the cups. So pretty intuitive renaming there of the 4 suits. And just look at these divine colours and these gorgeous, sensual images full of connection. I think for Erotic Tarot, people would maybe get it a little bit wrong and feel like it's just going to be purely titillating, purely novelty, maybe like too sexy for some people, not sexy enough for others. It really depends what you're looking for in a deck. But actually, there is so much expressive, explosive, imagery here, and so many beautiful characters and connections between different figures in the major arcana. And the 4 suits are just really, really gorgeous to look at. The court cards are amazing. You've got some great figures in the court cards. So yeah, that's why I really enjoy Erotic Tarot. So let me show you my favorite figure in Erotic Tarot, darlings. Look at Queen of Feathers. Would you look at her? Look at Queen of Feathers. I'm absolutely in love. Could I be any more in love with her? I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I want to be her, essentially. I want to be the Queen of Swords archetype as it is, but that is just next level. You've got to love that, right? So yeah, really love Erotic Tarot. Definitely recommend. As I said, I got it a few months ago as a random little treat for myself. I love the backings of the cards. Look at the backings. I mean, it's such a visual treat on the front and back. And it's really, really good cardstock, darlings. Like, this is going to last the test of time. This is going to last you. Absolutely no worries there. So yeah, just a really beautiful, sweet treat for myself. And I have been very much enjoying diving in. The next deck that I really enjoy, that I've been using a lot on my personal journey and also a lot in my sacred patchwork readings for clients, is the Prairie Majesty Oracle. I know a lot of people that watch my channel will absolutely love this Oracle deck. The illustrations by Amy Putney Koenig are incredible. I'll read the back. It says, this 48 card deck uses the Prairie as a mirror for how to embrace personal power, authenticity and freedom as one aspect of the harmonious whole. Messages feature open-ended questions from flora, fauna and elements, includes full colour guidebook with suggestions for use and deeper insights. This is such a warm deck, you know. On the front it says explore your sovereign nature, and that's exactly what it helps you to do. The characteristics of the different animals and plants and sort of environments that are explored in the deck really help you to deeply connect with yourself and figure out what your next move is going to be, what's in the way for you. It is very it's pretty deep, guys. It's pretty deep. And look at the backings of these cards as well, how beautiful. Again, really good cardstock, exceptionally well made deck. So I've been spending quite a bit of time with this deck. The colors are on point. Let me show you now the cutaways, and you can really take a look at some of the magic here. So you can see that there's quite a big variation in the color palette here. Very bright colors, really exceptional repro of the colors here. And every single card has the name of the card, you know, so you've got emerge, shelter, protect, hear, remember, reflect, etc. But then you've also got a sense of which creature or plant is being focused on, and then you are given a question to answer alongside. So if you just want to use this for your journaling, if you just want to use this to sit and like work something through, or if you want to pose, you know, if you are a professional card slinger, if you want to pose really juicy, interesting questions to your clients, you really couldn't go far wrong with Prairie Majesty. You've got such interesting questions there, like what if everything is already working out? What is mending? How can I be of service? How can I safeguard what is sacred to me? I love that one. How can I safeguard what is sacred to me? What eternal knowing can I access in human form? These are questions that are not skating over the surface. They're not, you know, the simple prosaic questions that you might expect with an Oracle deck. They are deep dive questions, and I really, really appreciate that so much about this deck. So that's a real treat to see. I also wanted to mention to you, darlings, as well as showing cutaways, that there are 4 really interesting cards in Prairie Majesty Oracle that do not have any of the questions. They aren't really focused on a specific plant or animal or anything like that. They're literally just illustrations, and the illustrations are of the sun, the moon, star, and the clouds, the sky. And those 4 just like slot themselves in so nicely. I usually take out what I consider to be spare cards or extra cards, especially from tarot decks. But with Oracle too, I tend to cut out anything that doesn't really honor the form. But these 4 I have kept in. I love them. I don't know if I would take them out if I was doing a more specific kind of client reading. But for me personally, for my personal contemplations, I love to have these 4 in there. You know, you've got the 2 matching, the moon and star, and then the sky and the sun. So the night sky and the daytime sky and their associated beautiful celestial bodies. And it also just really studs readings through nicely. And if you're doing a 1-card read with Prairie Majesty Oracle and you get one of these, you can really start to sort of free flow and open up, and it really takes you on some interesting journeys. So I really enjoy the inclusion of those 4 cards that are not, you know, they don't really go with the strict form that the rest of the cards take, but it almost doesn't really matter, you know, it's like they just thread in so nicely that they kind of make sense. So that's Prairie Majesty Oracle. I really do recommend it. A really beautiful book that accompanies it with the colours in there and everything. A great companion book. So all in all, it's a really beautiful use of money, and yeah, I fully recommend. I'm having a great time with it. The next deck that I want to make sure I recommend, because I am kind of obsessed, and if you've been a client with me over the last year, you may know, you may be one of the people for whom I have grabbed this deck and I have gushed over it, and I've been like, oh my god, I love this deck, I have to use this deck for you. And it is the Naked Heart Tarot. I'm completely in love with Naked Heart Tarot. I cannot help it. It is so engaging and so beautiful. Yeah, I've got to say, beautiful deck, very well made, very animal and nature oriented, this deck. There are no human figures in this deck. So if you're into that, you know, if you like something like Wild Unknown Tarot, for example, then you might really enjoy this. Unfortunately, the book, although it is very hefty, It's a very thick book that comes with it. Unfortunately, the pages are a little delicate. So already I've got pages that I need to tape back in, because when you sort of crack the spine, things get a little bit fragile, unfortunately. And you do need to crack the spine because it's quite a hefty book. But as soon as you do, pages begin to come out left, right and center. So that is an unfortunate thing about Naked Heart, about the book, you know. But the cards are flawless, matchless, and fit nicely in my hands as well. I have quite small hands, so the deck is a really nice size for me. And when you have the whole deck together, it's not too difficult to get my hands around like some other decks are. You know, when I work with something like Modern Witch, which I do love, but when I work with it, I mean, it is ridiculous to shuffle. It really, I don't know what it is, but the cards are just so thick that when I hold them when I hold the deck in my hands, it's quite a task, unfortunately, for me sometimes to shuffle. So with something like Naked Heart, it's nice and comfortable. It fits right in my hand. Let me show you some of the imagery for Naked Heart. Let's go to the cutaways. And you can see here that you've got that beautiful line work detailing. I love the black line work detailing in these cards. It really sets it off for me, and you can see that in every single one of the cards. It is a characteristic of the cards that they've got this beautiful line work that really makes the imagery pop so nicely. You've got the starkness and the boldness of the white background with the pops of colour in the foreground. Obviously no border, which I know a lot of people appreciate, not having a border with a deck. There are no borders here. And I just think that the way that the ideas have been reworked is really beautiful with Naked Heart. It really makes you think. It takes you in some different directions. There's some gorgeous symbolism. You know, you've got some moon symbolism, some death symbolism, lots of animals, cosmic stuff, you know, a little bit of a psychedelic slant on some of the cards. Even, I would say, a little bit gothic in some of the cards as well. So it's just a really beautiful adventure. I've got a real soft spot for Naked Heart. I love the fact that there are bats in there, there are foxes, there are unicorns, you've got a flamingo in there. Like, I don't know, it's just really beautiful. There's a gazelle, there's whales. It's beautiful. There's ants carrying pentacles on their back. It's kind of trippy and really beautiful to behold. So I definitely have, as I said, a soft spot for Naked Heart, and I would recommend it if you like that kind of imagery. Darling ones, this is the newest deck in my collection. It is the Divine Arts Tarot. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've completely fallen head over heels in love. Hayley Kim is a genius. And I know that this has been quickly taken to a lot of people's hearts, and I am no exception. On the back it says, creativity opens up doors to other dimensional realities. It breaks apart our consciousness and unveils the mystery surrounding the universe and ourselves. It allows us to experience our truths. It awakens the divine within us. And it says that the deck is calling you to seek out your inner magic, intuition, and wonder. This deck has a big personality. It really does come right out at you, darlings. Beautiful book there. Very nice and good card stock. Not as strong as the other decks that I've mentioned so far, but certainly good enough. Let me take you to the cutaways, and you can see what I mean and why I have fallen in love with this deck. It's cosmic, it's psychedelic. It's definitely a deck that I would take to a festival. The colours are absolutely stunning. The purples in there and the oranges and yellows are just so stunning. I love the use of flower imagery around the sides of the cards. Lots of them contain flowers. I love the faces that are included and the faces of the animals as well. There are a few renamings of some major arcana cards in here, but everything else is pretty much what you would expect for a 78 card tarot deck. And it's just very engaging. It really pulls you in. It really absorbs you into it. And those colours are next level. I mean, they do take you somewhere else. They create such a sense of depth with the illustrations. Let me show you the moon card in the Divine Arts Tarot. Look at this moon card. Do you see what I mean by the depth with the colour in the background and then the imagery in the foreground, and the way that she's just romantically touching the moon and the moon is interacting? That's just gorgeous, right? Like, you know, that's right up my alley. That's exactly what I want from a moon card. And it's such a different interpretation to anything that I've previously seen personally. So I love that. I vibe with that. That makes me super happy. It's beautiful to behold. There's just something about this deck that takes you to another place, you know? It's definitely multi-dimensional. It references nature, but it also references space, and it references the astral, I think, quite well. There's something, like I said, trippy about it. And I like anything that's kind of trippy and a bit scary at times as well. There's something about it that is quite intense and makes you confront the messages. So yeah, I think if you are into this kind of thing, you like this kind of background, you know, makes you feel like you're in a field at a hippie festival on an acid trip about to just like drop into your soul, get yourself a little bit of this. Divine Arts Tarot is so beautiful. What a triumph. I absolutely love it. I went away to look after my friend's house a few months ago, and I decided I was only going to take Divine Arts with me so I could really sink my teeth into it and get deep down into it. So it was the only deck I took with me for client readings. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to let myself fully absorb in these cards, and I'm so glad that I did that. It was definitely a really big risk for me because I usually would have a few different decks to play with, but I was like, no, I'm going to fall in love with this deck by hook or by crook, and it did not take me long, darlings, let me tell you that. I love a trippy deck, darlings. I love a trippy deck, so let me give you another one while we're on a roll with the trippy shit, okay? Let me tell you, Dream Vision Tarot is unreal. Look at the box, look at it. It looks like it came right out of the 60s. Hello? I want to take it straight to Haight-Ashbury in 1960, whatever the fuck, and start reading for hippies on the street. I cannot help. Look at it! Look at it! Oh, it's so sumptuous. I love it so much. It's absolutely beautiful. It says here, enter the ethereal universe of Dream Vision Tarot. Don't mind if I do. Awaken your inner knowing, designed to unlock your visionary power. Meet the cosmic forces alive inside. Yes, please. Sign me the fuck up. Absolutely love this. This was gifted to me. It doesn't come with a book inside it. I don't think that matters. I don't pay too much attention to the book. If there isn't one, I'm not running around online looking for it or anything, or trying to find out what the creator thinks of things. I just dive in. Beautiful backing there to go with the front of the deck. Let me take you to the cutaways. Let me waste no more time. Look at this. You're either going to love it or you hate it, okay? It's one of those very, very strong colours. Very, very psychedelic in nature, but also you do get the sense that, you know, this was created on the computer, right? This is not something with hand-drawn imagery, but it really doesn't matter to me. There's something about it that is very potent, and it just drops me right into the task at hand. I've enjoyed using it for a few clients, but actually at the moment it is becoming more of a personal deck. It just really resonates with me. It speaks to me very much. And there's so many characters in here, so many figures that really sing to your heart. There are some very intense, very kind of scary images in here. And there's definitely a lot that taps you into soul searching, shadow work. I think it would be really good for all kinds of different readings though. You can see that it's just got a lot of visual impact, and it's very sweet as well as being quite confrontational in its approach as well visually. So there's just a lot there. It gives you a lot. There's a lot to get out of this one. Let me know down below specifically, what do you think of this? And let me know about any of the decks that I've showcased. I'm very intrigued because I have a very strong sense of what I find visually pleasing. So I would love to know what you guys think. There is beautiful holographic gilding on the edges. Look at that. Again, that really speaks to me. That does something to me, baby cakes. And here are some of my favourite cards from this particular deck. This is the Tower, a very high impact image of the Tower. Death is divine. I mean, I want that in poster size on my wall. Give it to me now. Yes, this Death card is everything. Queen of Swords is absolutely sumptuous. I mean, come on, look at her. You want to know her, you want to converse with her. She looks like she knows some shit. And she looks like she has like a sort of crystal wand crown, which I love. I love Queen of Pentacles. There's something really scary but enticing about Queen of Pentacles, and those greens dancing with each other. And then also the Hanged Man. This has got to be one of my favourite depictions of the Hanged Man that I've ever seen. Real emphasis on the halo of illumination there, the halo of revelation, which I love because that's one of my favourite things about the Hanged Man archetype. So All in all, I've got to say, I really love Dream Vision Tarot. It's a hard yes from me, 10 out of 10. Every so often I want a deck that is kind of like a holiday. It's my holiday deck. It just feels like I've gone away somewhere, you know, and I'm just with my journal and my candles and everything's sumptuous and I'm just having this little break from the world. And I have a deck that's like, you know, it's that comforting vibe, but it really clicks you into yourself as well. I like a deck that feels like a holiday and like an escape, but also it is helping me to do the self-developmental work, because I never do readings just for fun for myself. I'm not a reader for my clients or for myself that tends to want to skate over the surface. I want to go deep. I want to get something out of it. So if I can find a deck that broaches that and is the middle ground between those two things, I'm happy with that. I like the escapist, holiday, time away in the country vibe, but at the same time, that sense that like I'm doing the work, I'm tapping in, I'm getting down to business, I'm dropping into my heart. And for that, I would like to say Cottagecore Oracle absolutely slays for me in this department. I love it. It feels like a little adventure. It's so comforting. It says here, 45 healing messages grounded in practical self-development advice to broaden your perspective, encourage you when you're struggling, and guide you toward resolution if you feel lost. It really is a very special self-developmental tool. Let me show you the cutaways now, darlings. You will definitely fall in love if you are into that cottagecore vibe. If you like the natural imagery, you can see these are really beautiful images. The words, each written at the bottom in white, really jump out, so you don't forget to look at them and tune in with them. But that sense that you are really looking at images that are pulling you in, inviting you, comforting you, I think, and really encouraging you in a gentle way. That really sort of speaks to me about this deck. There's something very special about it in that regard. It's not my usual aesthetic, but it really doesn't matter. It taps me into something that I really need sometimes, you know, and the words are very comforting. You know, transition, hope, positivity, curiosity, ceremony, guide, catalyst, familiarity, reverence, commitment. So it really is focusing on those positives of self-development, things that you want to bring in, things that you might want to look at making more active in your life at a certain time. So I really appreciate this one. Let me show you some of my favorites from this one, actually. So this deck is really beautiful. Slow, with like the cup of what appears to be water rather than tea, and the slices of apple. Just so bucolic and so like cottagecore, basically. Opportunity is beautiful. The doorway with the figure in the doorway. I really love that one. The trust card, the bee inside the flower collecting the pollen. You can see that these are quite large postcard size kind of cards. So they do fulfill that visual feast element that you might want if you're doing like a decadent reading for yourself. I really love the fox in this card, resourceful, which foxes very much are. Resourceful under pressure, strong through oppression. There's something about the fox that is connects to me strongly. And the connection card with the cup of tea. Of course, me being typically English, I would love this one, right? Love the teapot and the pot of tea there. There's a lot to love about this Cottagecore Oracle for sure. And there is a little book that comes with it. And it does have colour repros inside with quite a lot of text, although the text is very small, darlings. So if you do struggle, you need to get your reading glasses on, because you can see the text is rather teeny. But definitely a worthwhile little book if you do like to go through and explore what the creator was thinking when the deck was conceptualized. So yeah, I really love Cottagecore Oracle. Like I said, it's my little holiday deck. If you are on my Patreon or ever have been on my Patreon, you're going to know that I love me some affirmations. I write them regularly. I use them all the time. I repeat affirmations pretty much every day. I love words. I love words that lock me into my power, that remind me of who the fuck I am and what it is that I'm doing at any particular point, what my intention is focused on. And this deck by Kimberly Sand, the Heart Align Oracle cards, are really great for this kind of purpose. Obviously beautiful box there with that lovely iridescent holographic look on it, and the key with the wings is just so tattoo worthy. On the back it says it's a collection of 77 gentle yet powerful affirmations seeking to inspire unconditional love and radical acceptance towards the self. Let me show you what is going on inside this deck. Let's go to the cutaways. The first thing that you will see, my darlings, about this deck is that every single one of the cards has this beautiful iridescent heart on it. And that really gives a strong visual component that I appreciate massively. You've also got this lovely pastel palette, which is quite comforting, and I think really invites you to lock into the messages even more. And you've got some really strong affirmations here, you know. You've got things like, it wasn't your fault, which I think is a really strong one. I forgive myself for being the person I've been in order to survive. I love that one. I continue to take inspired action towards my aspirations and goals. Suffering is the absence of love. I allow myself to take up space and fully exist as I am. So these are quite strong words, you know. And you can really pull out and play with a few different ones. You can take one for the day and make it into your daily draw. You can return back to these affirmations as inspiration to write your own. And there are a few different key themes in the heart line as well. The categories for the cards are reminders, self-love, healing, connection, and momentum. So as usual, Kimberly has put a lot of thought into this deck. You know, there are the categories there. There are different ways to use the cards, different ways to interact with them. You can grab all the ones of a certain color, and you know that you've gotten all the cards for healing. You can grab all the cards that are the color for the momentum messages, and then you can just lay them out and work with them. So there's quite a few different ways that this deck can be really good. And if you're into affirmations and you do not own Heartline, might be a good thing to put on the wish list. I really love it. It's also very small, so it's compact for the bag. If you're going away and you just want a really good self-development tool that's been, as I said, very well thought through, very lovingly made, really good card stock, you know, you want something that you can take away with you, that you can use on the train, use in your hotel room, use for journaling. This is really going to be very inoffensive. It's not going to take up a great deal of space. So definitely recommend Heartline. It's beautiful. I'm completely obsessed with Cosmic Slumber Tarot. Obsessed. I did an unboxing of this on my channel. If you want to watch it, it's in the unboxings playlist. This deck is my go-to, one of my absolute go-to inner child decks now, for myself and also for my inner child readings for clients that I do as well. It's also a regular in my Sacred Patchwork readings, which for those of you who don't know, is a reading where I use multiple different decks and I just lay out a random formation that is intuitively built, and then I turn all the cards over. This is a regular one that features in my Sacred Patchwork. I come back to this deck again and again. I just love it so much. It's got a dreamy, it's got a child's fever dream type of vibe to it. It's spacey, but also earthy. It's playful, but it's also quite confrontational. It almost is nostalgic in a weird way. It reminds me of the first opening portals of my deep imagination as a child. And it really just takes me back to something as well as propelling me forward into something. It's just very potent. Let's have a look at the cutaways and you'll be able to see what I mean. There's something magical about this one, honestly. Look at the illustration style for one. It's so of itself. You really would recognize this from just one or two cards. You would know straight away. Tilly Walden has got a very specific way of illustrating, and I really appreciate that. And it's so cohesive throughout, you know. Like I said, it's really characteristic of itself, which I appreciate. It's very iconic in a way. Those colours are absolutely madcap. You could never complain about those colours. They really make it. I especially love the clash of pink and red that you get in certain cards. I love the fact that there's just enough honouring of the kind of typical traditional tarot imagery that we all know and love, whilst also departing from it in a way that makes the deck very engaging as a tool for studying other imagery in your tarot journey. So there's really lots to love about Cosmic Slumber. And as I said, deeply developmental, very good for the inner child work. I think very good for shadow work as well. But I would fully recommend this deck if you love the imagery and you're looking at it thinking, okay, this is making me salivate, this is what I'm looking for. Then I really couldn't recommend this one enough. I really love the very silver gilded edges as well. Look at that. Woo! You can see that from space. That's not messing about, is it? So yeah, this is very charming. And let me show you the High Priestess card from this deck. Look at it. Look at that High Priestess opening the door with like the little version of herself inside. Something about that really speaks to me. I love that. And the Sun card is beautiful as well. So high impact. Also, many of you know I adore King of Cups. I have a permanent crush on King of Cups. And this King of Cups, look, This lazy, beautiful, hedonistic creature here in King of Cups, just having a nap. So beautiful. I just really love that. It really taps into my affection. The final deck that I want to mention that I've been embracing and loving so much, actually on and off over the past 2 years, and it's definitely come into my awareness as a favorite again recently, is the Tattoo Tarot. Tattoo Tarot is beautiful. Unfortunately, this gold sort of feature on the illustration on the front does not extend to the cards inside, which I'm always very sad about. But you know what? If I want to go full gold member and love gold, then I've got like the golden Art Nouveau Tarot for that. So that's fine. There's plenty of gold in there on the cards. But the gold here only is on the cover. But look at the cover of that deck, and it's a very sturdy box. I'm almost sad that I keep the cards in it because it could equally be great as a jewellery box or a box for other treasures. And that red inlay is just like, it's very moody, darlings. It's very moody. You've just got a really simple paperback, like magazine style little white book in this one, with very sort of like simple explanations. Again, I'm not a really big stickler for the book. If there isn't going to be one, or if there's only going to be a little one, that's fine. I would prefer something more than the traditional, not traditional, but the little white books you get in a US games deck. I would prefer something more than that for my money, but really ultimately it's not that much of a big deal to me. Let's go to the cutaways of these cards because, oh my fuck, guys, so high impact. So you can see here that this is a very kind of like, is it neo-trad? I don't even know what you would call it, but a distinctively tattoo-esque style of illustration here with the flames and the stars and everything. So it's very, very visually impactful. The colours are very deep, very rich, and the figures that you see in the cards, they're pip cards for the minor arcana. So there are no figures in the minors and no situations in the minors, if you will. But that doesn't lessen their impact in my view. But the figures for the court cards and in the major arcana are very potent, and you really connect with them quite deeply. So I really love the features here. I love the skulls, the snakes, like the wings, just the very tattoo-esque approach. Obviously, it's called Tattoo Tarot, so no surprises there. If you want something that gives the drama, that gives the feel of a traditional deck, but is really quite contemporary, you can't go far wrong with Tattoo Tarot. Look at this Lovers card, for example. It gives the drama, but it also has that contemporary vibe, that snappy, biting colour to it, that modern feel as well. So you're really bridging the gap between the two, between the traditional feel of a serious deck, you know, but also those like lovely contemporary pops that make you feel like you are using something modern as well, something that's been kind of rethought through for the current era. So really, I am very in love with this deck. I do keep returning to it, and it's definitely going to be one that I keep coming back to. And even though the box is a little bulky and I do want to keep it in the box because the box is so sumptuous, I have taken this away with me a few times on trips and stuff because you know what? I just can't help it. It doesn't matter if it's bulky. I'll find the room for it in my case. Fuck it. I had to treat myself to this one, darlings. Look at that diamond feature on the box. Oh my gosh. It's just so beautiful. It's a really lovely one to have. So my darlings, this is everything. These are all of the decks that are what I would call my current faves, the ones that I just keep putting on rotate, I keep reaching for, I'm really feeling them at the moment. Let me know down below, do you have any of these decks? Do you want any of these decks? Are there any particular styles of deck in this little run through that you feel like you want more of in your collection? What are you really feeling when it comes to decks right now? And are you on a deck buying ban? Because I know I currently am. I have not bought any of these of late. The Divine Arts Tarot was the most recent one that I received, and that was not a purchase. That was very kindly sent to me. So it was sent to me by someone who accidentally received two and wondered if I might want the other one. And it's actually ended up becoming a really firm favourite. So you know who you are, and thank you so much for sending me that. But I'm actually not buying any decks, hopefully this whole year. I'm on a depth year, darlings. So if you want to know more about my depth year for 2023, I will leave the video down below that explains what kind of depth year I'm having, why I'm having it, the kinds of things that I'm not buying and why I'm not buying them. I do have 4 little points in the year where I can choose to buy a deck if I want to, but so far so good. I have not purchased anything new. I'm just really diving into what I've already got and finding that that is a really sumptuous experience for me. And if you haven't done that with your collection for a while, let me lovingly encourage you, let me lovingly nudge you to do exactly that, because it does feel great. You know, you pull things out of your collection that you haven't really interacted with or you didn't go deeper with, and it feels like you bought yourself a new deck, but you didn't have to part with any money. So do that if you haven't done for a while. Okay, darlings, I'm going to go and play with my cards now. Much love. Thank you so much for watching this video. I feel better just talking about the imagery that I love and what I've really been enjoying in terms of decks lately. So thank you for this therapeutic experience. Much love. Keep card slinging and blessed be. Mwah.